Everyone, welcome to the set review for Dead of Winter Blood. My review is literally just for constructed. It is not for limited. I am not a limited expert. I'm decent at limited, but I'm not like known for my limited skill. So I'll be going over all the cards and their application to standard or constructed. Mostly the cosmic constructed. Like I'm not gonna go into detail about the rock format too much. I'll try to mention I guess I'll mention rock a little bit, but because some of you wanted that, but rock is pretty open, I think. So this is mostly for the cosmic ladder for qualifying for the cosmic crown showdown. All right, so we're gonna dive on in. We have blood here. But before we dive in, you'll see a chat down there. I'm recording this live and then posting to YouTube. And if you guys want to buy the new cards, I would highly encourage you to buy at battleshopper.com. You can use code AliEldrazi to get 5% off. And that 5% gets kicked back to me and to the Twitch channel. So, all right, let's go ahead and dive on in here. First card we have is Arcing Venom. It's a quick action. This is part of the cycle. It is up to 3 target troops get lethal this turn. This is not going to see play in standard or constructed. This will see play, obviously limited, but again, and as far as fight night, I don't think it's going to be there. Okay. Well. All right, Blight Bark Burster. 3 cost, 4/2, Death Cry. Each opposing champion loses 3 life. This is not good enough constructed. Will not see play. This is just another limited card. Blightwater Ferryman. Blightwater Ferryman is a 6 cost, 6/3. Obviously, you see here. It has Deploy and Death Cry. When it comes into play, it puts a random troop from any crypt into play under control, and when it dies, it does the same thing. I think this card is very powerful. I think it's only a matter of time before we see it. The fact that you can like Mordrum's Gift this creature and then get back another creature is pretty disgusting. So like, if you Mordrum's Gift this creature, and if by chance you have another one, you can get the other one back and something else, or even like if you, I don't know, if you have like Urnaz or something, you can play this and get Urnaz. It just does a lot. So this card I think is very good. Once the reanimator deck stabilizes or finds like good outlets, I imagine this is gonna be one of them. This is a very powerful card. Not even just reanimator. Like it's on almost the same power level as Raw Gang. Not as powerful as Raw Gang, but it's like slightly worse, but it's still very powerful. In the right deck, it is stronger than Raw Gang, but as pound for pound, I would say no. But it's still a very powerful card that I expect to see play. Champion says, "Congrats on the win yesterday." Thank you, Champion. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. All right, so this gets my thumb up approval. Bone Tide. Basic action. Target opposing troop gets -1/-1 for each troop in opposing crypts. Good to know this is permanent. It's not till in a turn. It's basic though. And because of that, I don't think it's good enough. Like, excuse me, at 1 cost, Cheap Shot's just better, in my opinion. If you're stuck on a 2 cost, Strangle's better, or Casualty of War. Not a fan of Bone Tide. I don't think it's gonna be a staple in the format. Yeah, the Merryman is just a bigger Mordrum's Gift, but it doesn't target. Alright, Brink of Madness. This is a quick action, 1 cost. Target a non-resource card in an opposing crypt. Void it and each opposing card with the same name in hands, decks, crypts. If you void 4 or more cards this way, summon a Chaos Tongue. This is good against combo decks. This is good against decks that have like that rely on a specific 4-of to win the game. For example, if you manage to somehow make your opponent discard a Psychic Extension, hitting it with this is very good. Or even like a Cyclone Shaper or some deck that relies on a four of card that they always want. This is definitely a reserves card. It is not. This is not main deckable. It is main deckable, but you shouldn't main deck it. This mostly play, mostly reserves. You should not play this main deck. But it is a good card. It's one I'm glad to have access to, because it stops some degenerate stuff from happening. Like even against like Reanimator, like let's say if Reanimator becomes really popular, this basically counters Mordorum's Gift and gets rid of all the troops in their hand, deck, and graveyard. So this is good for that. So solid card, but again only reserves. Okay. Bristlebar Hag. 2 cost, 1/3. Sacrifice another troop you control. Troops you control get +1/+1. No. I limited only. I don't expect this to see play in constructed. Yep, like there's better sack outlets that do other things. This kind of like bites itself, because it's asking you to sack a troop to get everything else +1/+1. Like the only way this sees play is in like a Ivan Slackpot deck that makes a ton of dreadlings. But even then, like Tactician is better. So it's weird because this wants you to sacrifice a troop to give all your troops +1/+1, but in doing so you lose troops, which makes the other ability weaker. And then you'd think that it'd be good with dreadlings, but dreadlings die in a turn, so the buff doesn't stay. The buff just doesn't get to work. It's interesting. I think it bites itself too much. And even for dreadlings, again, I think Tactician is better. So I'm gonna say no to this one. Corpse Lily. 2 cost, 2/1. Death Cry summon a zombie. This is a great card. Similar to Blight Blossom, but where Blight Blossom makes 2 1/1s, this makes a 2/2. This can see play and mostly play, depending on the metagame, over Blight Blossom or alongside Blight Blossom. Just a solid card. Nothing like fancy, but it does what it's designed to do. I do think Blight Blossom is better, but if you don't play like Blood and something else, you can definitely play it. So solid card. It's also a plant. Corpse Mulch. This is a constant. Sacrifice a troop you control, draw a card, gain 2 health. This is like a sweet build on me card in limited. As far as constructed goes, man, maybe in a super grindy matchup against like control, where you bring out reserve to sacrifice your guys to draw a card and get 2 life, but I don't think so. Even then, it's too much. There's better constants. Like, I would just rather play False Singularity against those decks anyway. So this card is like, If drawing multiples also sucks, and it's not as powerful as like something like Zintoth's Malice, where Malice can like literally take over the game. This takes a lot of time and it's super slow. I'm gonna say no, just because it's not that great, and it's so slow. You really want to kill the creatures if you want this card. I think it's a great build on. I think it's a great build on me and limited. As far as constructed, it's very slow. You need your death card has to be very powerful for this to be worth it. And even then, it's probably not worth it. All right, Cruel Sentence, 2 costs, draw a card, lose 1 life. Verdict. This is more playable than Cannibalize. 2 costs, draw a card, lose 1 life, and then like even getting a Daybreak or a Nightfall, or even drawing a card or regrowing a creature is fine. This card is very playable, and the fact that as Verdict allows it to synergize well with Verdict things. There's troops that like when you Verdict, you can deal damage to your opponent. This is definitely a playable card. Alright. Deathless Destiny. This is 8 cost. Basic action. This is also part of a cycle. This is the blood one. Put 2 target troops from your crypt into play. While 4 more troops have died this turn, this has minus 5 cost in all zones. So that's a lot. Like, you need 4 more troops to die this turn? How are you doing that? Like, Dreadlings is like the only way I can think of. Like, Massacre is good enough? And you really don't want to Massacre in your Death Cry deck? Because like, if you have like Abomination Gems, you don't really want to do that. This is better. This would be better with like Extinction. Like if you Extinction and then bring back 2 troops, that'd be pretty cool play on turn like 7. But or not turn 7. Turn 7. Turn 7. This is just slot. It's too much. It's asking too much. Having 4 more troops die to trigger this is a lot. As far as casting it by itself, I'll say it'd be playable if it costs 6. If this costs 6, I would play it just to bring back 2 things at 6 cost. Like I wouldn't even worry about the cost reduction, but costing 8 is just way too much. All right, like 8 is so much. Even 7 is I think is playable because people cast Eternal Seekers. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this will see play as a one-of in like a Rainmare deck, but I really don't think so. I think the Ferryman is better than this card. So no. Alright, Decaying Dead. 2/2. At the start of your combat phase, if you don't control a troop with or tied for the highest power, exhaust this. No, I don't want my 1/1s to be my 1/1 2/2s to have drawbacks. Like we see Intrepid Conjurer with huge plus side. We see just other one drops at like 2/1 gladiator troops. This is a no. You don't want your troops to have this text on them, especially in constructed. Like this is like a 4/4 or a 3/2 or something. If it was a 3/2, maybe, but 2/2, I don't think so. All right, Demented Whispers. This is the black Escalate card. Cost 2. Bury the top 3 cards of each opposing champion's deck. Each opposing champion chooses and discards 1 card. Like an S in parentheses cards. So what happens is the first time you cast this, they'll bury the top 3 cards of your library, discard 1 card. Next time it'll be bury 6 and discard 2. And then after that it'll be bury 9, discard 3. This card is okay. I initially thought this would just see play in reserves, but there's been a Bury deck popping up that's like tier 2-ish that plays this as a 4-of. It really wants like 2 in a game. This card is actually like it's fine because people played Chronic Madness in the past just to bury 4 cards and then burying 4 cards has like no other effect. This is at least a 1-for-1. Early game, mid game, it can be like a 2-for-1. Then late game, it can just be bury whatever. It's basically a Chronic Madness. I think it's playable. I don't think it's that great. It's a fine card. To really get the payoff, you really want to hit 2 per game. Hitting 1 is very medium. It's a fine card. It's an okay card. I think it is solid in like a. This card would be great. Like there's blood decks that aren't playing this in reserves. Like there's Bardock the Butcher, and they're not playing this, which is mind-baffling to me. If you're playing Bardock the Butcher, and you need 4 of these in your reserves to beat the Psychic Ascension decks, this is a solid way to beat them. You can bury their cards and make them discard cards. If you hit their Psychic Ascension, it's phenomenal. Like this is a great card to have in your. Don't play Culmination of Blood. Like play this. This is great. This card is great. This card is great in your control deck, especially against the grinding mirror match or even the Psychic Ascension decks. So I think this is a solid reserves card. I'm lucky no one was playing it. I'm lucky nobody was playing it yesterday in the top 8 because if Warlock decks were playing this, I'd have to be very careful of how I tap and what I do. So, all right. Doomed Guardian, 6 cost, 6/6. Oh, wait. Thought this cost 8. All right, 6 cost. 6/6 lethal. When it dies, you void it, and then put each troop with Death Cry from equipped into play exhausted. Very powerful card. Probably, the only problem is like it competes with Raw Gang, and that's not really a good place to be. You don't want to compete with Raw Gang, but I could see it played in like a big Death Cry deck that has like a bunch of troops. Losing Kagu is huge though, so you can't like get this into graveyard reliably and run Rancor it back or something, or even Warden's gift it back. Maybe in some huge Death Cry deck with like Drunken Hooligans and a bunch of things, it can be like a top end as one of. But even then, I personally don't think I'll play this with Raw Gang, but we'll see. I could see this being played as a singleton and or maybe even 2 in a huge Death Cry deck. But it's pretty narrow because obviously the Death Cry restriction. Lethal is just like, it's kind of funny. Like my 6/6 doesn't really need lethal, but I'll take it. Dream's End. I actually wrote an article about this card. I said this card would be great. It'd be see play in the Death Cry decks. I think it's already seen some play. It curves fantastically from from like Blight Bush or from Underworld Crusader. And even if you get past that, if you start like hitting like Drunken Hooligan, you start like you kill a creature, you draw 3 and gain 5. It becomes pretty gross. And like so on curve, it's pretty good because you have Blight Bush, Naive Lackey, Underworld Crusader, Promiscuous Succubus. So on curve, it's pretty good. And then after that, you start doing like silly things like Drunken Hooligan. I know there's more. I can't think of any more on top of my head, but there's some powerful Death Cry abilities that are actually after 4, 5, and 6. So this is a very solid card in Death Cry decks. Eventide Ender, 4 cost, 5/1, deploy Death Cry Verdict. Spirit, limited only. I'm not expecting to see this one in my constructed decks. There's better spirits out there. Exalted Kabalists. When I first saw this card, I was like, this card is busted beyond belief. Because I thought this was a deploy. It is not a deploy, it's a Death Cry. This is also another powerful ability with Puck's End or Dream's End. This one, Dream's End, yeah. This is Death Cry. Put a random non-resource card from your opponent's hand into your hand. Its threshold to become blood. So you're guaranteed to steal a card. You're guaranteed it's not a shard, and you're guaranteed that you'll be able to cast it. Obviously, this is an insane effect on a deployability. I mean, probably too good. As far as Death Cry is really bad on this. Your opponent can play around it and can see it really. That being said, like I feel like it's even in the wrong faction. Like, why is it like being ardent kind of hurts it? I feel like if it was Underworld, it could see play in the as like a one of an Underworld Crusader decks. But the fact that it's ardent and it's Death Cry really hurts it. The ability is obviously very powerful, but it just has like so many things, like so many small things that kind of fight it. Like again, being ardent hurts, Death Cry hurts, and then like not being a plant or a zombie for like the Baroness. Like it wants to be in a Death Cry deck, but it has so many things that say, "Don't put me in a Death Cry deck because I'm ardent, I'm not a plant or a zombie, and I cost 4." So sweet card. Might see some French play, but I don't expect it to be a huge staple for. I don't expect it to be a staple in the standard format, but I think it's really cool card. If this was deployability, it'd be great. But if this is Underworld, I would say 100% sees play. That's all it would take. This to be Underworld, but since it's not, it's going to be a little harder. Alright. Herald of Roses. This is a 5-cost 4/4 life drain. Other under control have +1 attack and life drain. This is great in limited. Not so much in constructed. Malevolent Migo. 3-cost 3/1 flight speed. This can block. When opposing troop is buried, if this is in your crypt, put this into play. This triggers off Ghastly Exchange by itself. So if you have Ghastly Exchange and you mill a troop, this puts it back in play. Ghastly Exchange can also mill this for you. It's pretty sweet. It seems like decent in a Ghastly Exchange type deck, like maybe like a Blood, Wild Ghastly Exchange, Malevolent Migo type deck. Like I think this is playable. I know we haven't seen it yet, but I do think this is very playable in like a maybe even Deathcry deck, like a Blood Wild Deathcry deck with Ghastly Exchanges and this thing. Like if you can put Promiscuous Succubus on this, the ability, you can start sacking it to make 6/6s, and then whenever you mill a troop, you get it back into play. Like if you mill with, like again, the only way you'd mill it is with the Ghastly Exchange, but still, I still think this is a very powerful card that should see play sometime. Free spells are strong, and that card's free. All right, 2 cost, Nameless Devourer, 5/5 crushed. Your opponent may bury the top 10 cards of their deck. If they do, destroy this. The Punisher mechanic is the mechanic where your opponent gets a choice. It tends to be pretty bad unless both choices are like super bad or super good, depending on your viewpoint. This card it's never going to do what you want to do. Like if you want to bury 10 cards, you're not going to be able to. If you want to 5/5, you're not going to be able to. Like this card is not good enough in the bury deck. It's good enough in limited because decks are 30 cards. Like in limited, this basically does one third of your opponent's life total. Sorry, 1/3 of your opponent's starting life total, or it's 5/5. So essentially, this is a 2-mana that deals like 7-ish damage, because 10 cards is not 7-ish. It's 40-card decks, but they draw 7. So basically, 30 card decks. So yeah, basically like 7 damage. Good limited, not good in constructed. Tribunal Magistrate, thanks for following. Welcome to the pack. Thanks for being here. Alright. Nameless Host. 4 cost, 3/4. Bury the top 4 cards of your opponent's deck. This is a good card limited, not standard. Nameless Smith. 5 cost. Each opposing champion loses 5 health. Bury the top 5 cards of each opposing champion's deck. Not good in constructed and not good limited. Like, this is only good limited if you're playing against the Berry Mirror match, but otherwise, no. Hey, baby banana. You're following again? Welcome to the pack again. All right, we have Nameless. Thank you. All right, Nameless Peddler. 3 cost, 1/3, rage 2. Deathcry. Bury the top card of each opposing champion's deck equal to its power. Equal to its power. So if you're trying to bury your opponent, they're just gonna take this for a while. Oh, first was a host. Got you. Well, welcome to the pack regardless. And thanks for the host. Thanks for the host, and welcome to the pack. I'll do it one more time for you, in case you're here. Appreciate you being here. So this card again, if you're trying to bury your opponent's deck, it probably means you have no creatures or very few creatures. So your opponent's going to take this a lot of times and just ignore it until they have to kill it. Not good enough. And even limited, like I'm skeptical of this. Like in limited, you're trying to bury your opponent's opponent out. You don't really want it to be attacking because you're trying to stall. It's like so counterintuitive. It needs like the opposite of rage. It needs like Defender 2. When this blocks, it gets +2 defense, and when it dies, the opponent mills equal to its defense. That'd be great. I'd play that. As it stands though, no. Necro Niddle. Necronite, Necronite, Necronittle, Nettle, Necronittle, Necronittle. All right, undead plant. Sweet. This is a sweet, sweet typing right there. Undead plant. 4 cost 3/3. Another troop you control dies. This gets +1/+1. Sacrifice 3 other troops you control. Destroy target opposing troop. Like this card. I think this is a solid one of in Deathcry decks or even the reserves. Just be able to sacrifice 3 troops to kill a troop, then make this a 6/6. It's pretty good. I like it. I think it's always an option for Deathcry decks if the metagame develops to where it's very mid-rangey. This card will be great because one, it's undead plant, which means it gets buffed by the Baroness, and the ability is powerful. Like sacrificing 3 troops is a drawback, but if you're playing Deathcry, it's not that big a deal. Or if you're playing something like Dread Apprentice, you can make 3 deadlings, sack them all, kill a creature, make this a 6/6, and you're going places. Obviously, nothing like I would say pick up now, because if it sees play, it's going to be as a 1 of, maybe a 2 of, but not much. So, but the ability's strong, and usually stacking creatures is a drawback. It still is here, but this creature grows. You kill a creature, and you get to trigger your death prize. So not the worst. Blight Warden, 6 cost 7/4. Verdict. This is definitely a no. This is a limited only. Night Bloom. Quick action, target troop is +3/+1 this turn. Trigger that troop's death cries. I don't think so. I think Night Bloom is only limited. Like, what do you want to trigger here? Blight Blossom? Just play more Blight Blossoms. Like, best thing you want to trigger is your Underworld Crusaders, but you're already playing Underworld Crusaders. Don't play this. Play something else. I say no to this card. No. Cool limited. Cool limited, I guess. Phobia. Destroy target opposing troop if you control a constant. Each opposing champion loses 3 life. Quick action. I think this is playable in limited, but not playable in constructed. I am curious to see what Phobia means, though. Phobia means extreme or irrational fear of the night or the darkness. That's kind of sweet. All kids have Phobia. Sweet card, sweet name. Devoid of light. Yet the night is then never empty. Bum, bum, bum. Alright, limited only. Plague and Famine. 3 costs, 3/2. Lethal speed. These guys killed Puck, man. Not playable, because they killed Puck. Moving on. No, I'm kidding. Alright. So lethal speed. When Plague and Famine does combat damage to an opposing champion, put a random troop from equipped with Deathcry or Blightbark and its name into your hand. This card would be much better if Kagu was still around. The fact that Kagu isn't, it's much harder now to get troops into your crypt. Like, it's a lot harder to get troops in your crypt. Thanks, Peter. Peter says congrats on the first place. Thank you, appreciate that. I shouldn't need this. I'm not sure why I wear my headphones, I don't need them. And Puck takes to go to the still drilling. Shame on you, Trax. Shame on you. So this card, the fact that it's so hard to get troops into your crypt makes me say no to this card. Because again, like on turn 3, it's gonna be very hard to buy back something. You'll most likely be buying something back on like turn 5, 6, or onwards without Kaguichu. Even in like Takahiro, I'm gonna say it's also unique. It's also unique as well. I'm going to say maybe. I know maybe is like kind of like a cop out, but the 3 cost troops in all decks is very. The 3 cost is like huge. Like we have Weave Nothing, you have Crusaders, you have Hero Fall, you have Heart's Whisper. You have like the 3 cost is huge, and this competes with a lot of things. If these plays, it's gonna be like as a one of, maybe in reserves and grinding matchups. But as far as main deck plates, I'm not a huge fan of it. So I'm gonna say maybe, but not like it's not like a format warping or even a format staple. Yeah, and also fights with some fierce with promiscuous like this. So right back. I'm gonna close these doors real fast. Sorry about that. For 2 costs being unplayable, yeah. Surprisingly enough, if you reduce the cards by 1 cost, they tend to be playable. All right, Runic Madness. Each opposing champion discards a card at random. Runic, limited only. If you want to play something like this, there's plenty better ways for your opponent to discard cards. Like Withering Gaze is great. Demented Whispers is great. Commission of Blood is great. This is not good enough though. Scuttle Crux. When a tribute control dies, wear the top 3 cards of each opposing champion's deck. Like, maybe he's playing Immortal with that ridiculous Deathcry deck that sacks its which we call it, that's Troupe. The 1 cost Troupe that has like scrounge 1, it gets rage 1, scrounge 4, goes back to your hand. God, what's it called? Deathseeker. Deathseeker is what it's called. Okay, Deathseeker is like this is probably playable with in that deck with Deathseeker. Someone here says with Dreadlings this can be good, but I think if you're playing Dreadlings, you probably want to kill your opponent. Like you don't want to really rely on this. Like, are you killing them with Dreadlings, or are you trying to mill them? So that's you killing them with Dreadlings, or are you trying to bury them out? I don't think it's good there, but I think it's probably playable in the Deathseeker deck in the reserves for decks that have like low buy or certain decks that like can stop you from attacking. I just don't think it's good. I just don't think it's good enough for standard. But possibly Immortal, maybe even the Rock format, but I don't think so. Standard, no. Other formats, probably not either. Siphon Strength, quick action, 2 cost. Target opposing troop gets -2 toughness or defense. Target troop gets +2 attack. This is a permanent buff, but our two slot removal is too good already. We have Strangle, which is fantastic, because Strangle also stops Abominations. We also have Casualty 4, which is also solid. And both those cards are better than this card, so this card is not good enough. Sorry. Stalking Quarry. This is an A++++++ sideboard card or reserves card. It's fantastic. So when this comes into play, it voids all opposing socketed cards. I think it's +3 attack for each card void this way. That's a lot. +3 attack for each card void this way. Like, I would play this as a 5 cost, just exile all my opponent's things 3/4. I don't need it to get plus attack, but the fact that it's plus attack is sure, I'll take it. So not only did this come into play and essentially Plague Wind or kill all your opponent's creatures and stuff, it also becomes a huge threat. I was playing this in Barry actually, and if you put like the Lunacy Gem in this, when you cast this thing, it'll usually bury like 15 cards or something ridiculous. So this card is great, super solid reserves card, A+. If you thought Gymborn Prowler was playable, you'll be very happy to have this card. This card is miles better than Gymborn Prowler, in my opinion. All right, Sunset Shade, 2 costs, 1/1. This has +1 attack for each constant you control. Meh, like it's aggressive. It could see some French play because I mean, let's be real, a 2/1, 1/1 flying that gets bigger can be playable in aggressive decks if you have like constants, obviously, but like if those constants are daybreaks, I'm not a huge fan, but if they're not if they're nightfalls or maybe a runic justice in a constant form in runic form, then maybe. But this card is aggressive cards are always good. They're always like playable somewhere. It just if they have enough support. I'm gonna say yes to this card just because it's an aggressive card. At least tier 2. This can easily be tier 2, I think. Not sure about tier 1, but definitely tier 2. It has the right cost and effects for a 2-drop in Hex anyways. Probably tier 2, maybe tier 3, but I don't think it'll be tier 1. Umbral Guard. This one is much better. But again, it's a 3-cost card. 3-cost cards are like it in Hex. If TCGs have like 5 cost, TCGs usually 5-cost cards are like the cards that are warping games, like 4 or 5. And Hex is 3. Umbral Guard is kind of one of those cards. 3 cost, 2/3, Suckable Miner. When you verdict, this deals damage equal to its power to each opposing champion. It's obviously good in a verdict deck, but the problem is I don't think verdict is that good. I personally believe verdict is the worst Sapphire Diamond deck. Verdict is fun, it's sweet, it's exciting. Having your opponent like gamble or whatever, it's cool. It's cool, but I do think it's essentially a control deck, and I think the better control deck is Sapphire Diamond. But I feel like Verdict this is definitely for you then. I think Verdict is tier 2 right now. I don't think it's tier 1, but it is a sweet mechanic. But it's still early. Like people still have time to find or make the verdict deck better. So this will see play in verdict decks, but those decks right now aren't going to be tier 2. They're going to hover up and down, kind of like Papa Goot always has. Papa Goot's always been like decent, but people like it because it's fun. It's cheap. Like this is like your go-to card in verdict, but it's only uncommon. So this will see play. You'll see on ladder because it's cheap and people like doing fun stuff. Unravel is a 3 cost. Target opposing Troupe gets -3/-3 this turn. Bury the top 3 cards of each of your opponent's decks. This is great limited. As far as constructed, even in the Berry deck, this is like Hero Fall. Like you really want to play this. You really want to play this over Hero Fall, even in your Berry deck. Like that's risky. I like Hero Fall more, even in my Berry deck. Unwritten End. At the end of your turn, bury the top card of each opposing champion's deck. Each Troupe you control. No, it's way too much. Because you're asking me to play Dreadlings or creatures in my Berry deck, and I don't want to do that. Yeah, sorry. For this guy, you put the gem that is +2 attack, minor orb of tombs, minor blood orb of tombs or something. Yeah, that's what Trax was saying. That's the gem that usually goes on here. Is the minor blood orb of tombs. All right. File a Squirmhound, 1/3. When attacks, bury 2 cards. For each Troupe buried this way, it gets +1 attack. No. Limited. Even limited, this is weird. Like, again, Bury doesn't want to be aggressive. Like, are you trying to kill them or bury them? That's a problem with cards like this. Like, but if you're playing an aggressive deck, this is a fine card in an aggressive deck. But in a bury deck, it's like I'm trying to bury you out. I'm not trying to kill you by damage. So. Metronome says he put defense on it against Eldrazi's Glory, so doesn't get exiled. It's fair. It's also hard to kill. He can't strangle it. Again, go back to this card one more time. If you put the defense gem, you can't strangle it. You can't Glory it. You have to potentially like Hero Ball it or into the no-no or something. All right. Void Star of the Sightless. 4 cost, 2/3. 2/3 for 4? Come on, man. Lethal? Sure. When this attacks, bury cards from the top of each opposing champion's deck until you bury a troop. When an opposing troop is buried, create a random chaos touched and put it into your hand. Alright. This is, sorry. I'm a little tired. This is great in reserves against the control decks or combo decks. Like there's some decks that are playing very little creatures or no creatures. Let's for example take the cycle shaper, the Turbo Essential deck from last season. This card would be good against that deck. Not only does it mill the cycle shaper, it also mills like half the deck depending on what's going on. It's just a great card for your reserves against combo decks or decks playing very few creatures. As far as main deck in a berry deck, man, like why do you want to play this over like the librarian? Like, understand the librarian may not mill as much as her, but the librarian has card advantage. If you're playing to Barry, I'm not sure how good she is. I don't think she's actually that good. Like, I'd rather play the librarian or something that like mills right away. Having to untap or ready with a card has to be huge. You either want a powerful death cry or a powerful deploy for a card to usually do damage, and the librarian does that. Fenteo, the brute priest, did that. If you raid with Fenteo once or twice, you basically won the game. With Voidstar, though, it's like maybe. I don't think she's good enough. I think she's sweet. I love the art. I love Coyotes, obviously, but I think you have better options for berry decks. But as far as reserves, I think she's solid. Like again, in reserves against decks that have very few creatures, I would play her. Or there's a deck like, let's say, there's one time I was playing a Mastery of Time deck that only played like one creature or no creatures at all. Against like this card would kill me in one swing. That's worth it. Then that's where I would play it. But as far as main deck and a berry deck, I just don't think it's good enough. Right, Voidstar's Gaze. Destroy target non-chaos touch troop. Then if there are 10 more cards in opposing crypts, summon a random chaos touch troop with cost 2 or less. I think this card's actually fine. Like, I understand it's basic and people don't really like it, but in a berry deck, like killing opposing troop and summoning like a thought collector or even a tongue thing, the 1/1 tongue thing, I think it's playable. Like, I understand it's basic action. It's not quick, but being able to kill something and do something else, like hitting a thought collector off this is great. You get to gain some life and then draw a card. So I think I know this card isn't really played in standard. It's more a limited card, but I understand it also fights with Hero Fall. That's the problem. Like, Hero Fall's so good, right? Oh, Hero Fall's like insanely good. Oh yeah, like, I'll say Nameless Devourer. But I think if you're playing Berry, it's worth it to test this. I think this actually might be playable as like a 2 of maybe like 2 of these and 2 Hero Falls, or 3 Hero Falls and like 1 of these. Because when you cast this, the thing is, like, you don't want 4 of these, right? Because when you cast it, you definitely want to trigger the other effect. If there are 10 more cards in your opponent's crypt, create a Chaos Touch, put into play. Or 2-drop Chaos Touch, put into play. That's what you really want to trigger. In order to do that, you probably want to play like 2, 1, or 3. Like 3, 2, or 1. 3 is probably like too much, but that's usually what you want to do. I think 2. Yeah. Don says 2 is good. Like 2 seems like a good number. Because when you cast this again, you just want to trigger that ability. I think it's actually pretty good in Berry deck. All right, Zadig's Judgment. This card's already starting to see play. Verdict, draw a card. Put this randomly in the top half of your deck. It gets cost 0. This card's fine. This card's playable. It's nothing crazy, but it does have the benefit of becoming crazy when it costs 0 and you draw it, or if you have like a Twilight Justice where you're choosing the verdicts. If you're choosing the verdicts, that's also insane. Or if you have the Umbral Scout, the thing that like does damage with its power to opponent whenever you verdict. This card just has like a lot of like little niches there where it's like, okay, it's pretty good, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. And then it goes from like, even with nothing out, it's like fine, it's playable. Now this card will see play in a lot of blood decks just because it draws a card and then has other effects, and then later it's free, and when it's free, it's just really good. This card's playable. It's good. All right. Oh, that's it. All right. Well, YouTube, thanks for watching. There's other videos if you want to. If you like the videos and want to watch those reviews or things I put up, make sure to follow or subscribe. However it works on YouTube. But as far as YouTube, that's it. Thanks for watching. This ends the blood section, and I'll see you in whatever section you decide to watch next. All right. That was the blood.